Okay, I have a genuine question because I'm starting to get confused. Do the owners and managers of the Phoenix Suns think that being in the lottery is more desirable than the playoffs? Like, did they flip the two in their head? Do they think it's like golf where the lowest score wins? Because based off of the moves that the Suns have made in this year's draft, as well as most of their moves in the past, it seems like the Suns front office thinks the lottery is more desirable than the playoffs. Like they think having been there for the last half decade is an accomplishment. Like that's the goal. And the sad thing is, even if the lottery was the equivalent of the playoffs, the Suns would still be fucking losers. Because in the past couple of drafts, they have consistently came out as the loser. My last few videos have been kind of negative, and that's generally not the vibe that I like to go for, so I wanted to go with a positive one today. My next video is going to be on the Pelicans, either that or is going to be on Boogie's free agency, where, yes, I was going to roast him a little bit, but it was going to be nice in the end. But no, the Phoenix Suns decided that I need to be in a constant state of negativity, and I have to make this fucking video. I can only wonder how Suns fans feel. So let's talk about the dumpster fire that is the Phoenix Suns.
Rebound. Save. Absolutely incredibly with the acrobatic alley-oop.
So why don't we start this video with the inspiration for it, the 2019 NBA Draft. I would love to say the Suns got fucked, but in reality, the Suns fucked themselves. Actually, let's talk about the trade that happened pre-draft. The trade that I'm referring to is objectively a terrible trade. One of the worst that I have ever seen in my life. The Suns traded TJ Warren and the number 32 pick for, drumroll please, cash. Wait, what? It just says cash. That can't be right. Look at this shit. That's it? I originally thought that this trade was pick 32 for TJ Warren, and even when I thought it was that, I thought this trade was a hell of a steal. As this tweet proves. Then I find out that it was the Suns, in fact, who traded the 32nd pick as well as TJ Warren. It's like they were being robbed, and then as the thief was leaving the scene of the crime, the Suns reached into their back pocket and said, "Oh wait, I have $20 that you didn't get. Here you go, sir." For those ignorant souls who don't know about TJ Warren, if you want an in-depth video about him, check out MGJ's video on him. If you don't care that much about getting a long description of him, well, he's not quite as good as Mark's title would suggest, but he is very good. This year he averaged 18 points per game along with 4 rebounds, and he did that shooting 49, 43, 81. The Suns just traded an efficient high-teen scorer for cash. Now I understand that this trade was made for cap space, however that is not an excuse to make an objectively bad move. You can trade a contract without it being a bad trade. It's similar to the Kristaps Porzingis trade in that regard. You guys remember Kristaps? He was that criminal that played in New York. He was traded to Dallas in a cap dump, even when there were already rumors of teams being interested in Tim Hardaway Jr. as well as Courtney Lee. It was possible to get cap space without trading a franchise player. And the irony with that is that they did all of that just to land like Chris Middleton and Nikola Vucevic. And TJ was only making $12 million a year, so it's not like he was a bad contract, he was actually a bargain. You could have easily found a better deal than this. Anyways, very stupid trade. Next move. The next brilliant move was to trade pick number 6 back down to the Minnesota Timberwolves for pick 11 and Dario Saric. Now this wouldn't have been a bad move if they didn't draft Cameron fucking Johnson. No disrespect to Cameron Johnson, but he was projected to go late first round, early second. They traded back from drafting Jarrett Culver or Kobe White in order to get an okay 6-man and a dude that you could have drafted potentially in the second round. Cam, by the way, is already older than Devin Booker. That's an awful fucking trade. Even if you think highly of Cam Johnson, that's fine. Maybe you think he'll be a steal. Maybe you think he deserved to be a lottery pick. But if he wasn't gonna go there, don't draft him there. Then it gets worse. The Suns then traded for pick 24 from the Celtics by sending a Bucks 2020 pick to the Celtics, and then they got back Aaron Baines, who makes $5 million a year. Dario Saric also makes $4 million a year, so most of the cap space that they just cleared up is now back to where it was previously. They used that pick from the Celtics to draft Ty Jerome, a point guard, when they could have just drafted Kobe White at pick number 6, and they still could have got their man in Cam Johnson at pick 26 from the Celtics, or they could have drafted Jarrett Culver and still went with Ty Jerome but we would have got a much better small forward than Cam Johnson. And either way, don't trade TJ Warren for some cash to put into the wallet of Robert Sarver. So that was the 2019 draft. Now let's look at the Suns' draft history as a whole. Last year, they took DeAndre Ayton number 1 overall, notoriously drafted before Luka Doncic. Passing on Luka was definitely a mistake. However, I don't think it was a bad pick. I think this selection could be viewed as the most dumbed down version of the Rockets taking Hakeem over Jordan. Obviously, Jordan turned out to be the better player, but it's not like you can really give the Rockets shit for passing him up and drafting a great player. They also in this draft picked up Mikael Bridges, one of the million small forwards they have drafted in the last couple of years, but at least he's actually decent. A lot of people said the Suns were the biggest winner of this draft, and I tend to agree. It looked like the Suns were heading in a positive direction. Devin Booker was talking about playoff aspirations going into the season, and while I don't think many people saw that as likely in the competitive Western Conference, I think it was fair to expect the Suns to be as good as, let's say, the Sacramento Kings. But no, that didn't happen. A lot of that because of injury, and the Suns deciding to never feed the ball to the number 1 overall pick. But I'm going forwards when I'm trying to go backwards, so to the 2017 draft. In 2017, the Suns drafted Josh Jackson over De'Aaron Fox, Jonathan Isaac, and Lauri Markkanen.
Yikes! That's gonna be a fucking yikes for me, holy shit!
The Suns pass on a great point guard, a position that they were so desperate to draft that when they didn't get a chance to draft Ja Morant, they flipped the fuck out and they ended up with the draft that they had this year. So, good lord, was that a fuck up. 2016. Dragan Bender. I don't think I need to say anything else but Dragan Bender. 2015 was obviously Devin Booker. Every blind, money-hungry, middle-aged man finds a nut sometimes. And in 2014, they drafted TJ Warren. Too bad you traded him for fucking nothing. And before that, they took Alex Len, another bust. So the Suns have had a great opportunity to build a really good roster. Let's go back to 2016 and do a mini what-if here, where the Suns are actually competent. In 2016, there is no point guard to pair with Booker available, so trade down to 10 and draft Domantas Sabonis. He fills the 4th spot that the Suns still have yet to fill to this day, because Dario is really more of a 6th man than he is a starter. In 2017, the obvious one, fucking draft De'Aaron Fox. A backcourt of him and Devin Booker would be really good. In 2018, you go Luka. I think a trio of ball handlers, shot creators, and shooters can work. I think Booker becomes more off-ball with a duo of Fox and Luka taking over the ball handling duties, and then I think the Suns are too good to get the 6th pick this year, so I think they're at more like 12 and either draft or trade back for Goga Bitadze, who according to Mojo99 is the next Jesus. Then you go into this season with De'Aaron Fox, Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, Domantas Sabonis, and Goga Bitadze. You would also have Mikael Bridges and TJ Warren off of the bench. That team makes the playoffs this year. Now obviously this is using some hindsight, but even if they made 1 or 2 of these moves, the Suns would be projected way higher than they are right now. This isn't even mentioning some of their bad moves in the past, like signing 3 point guards who all deserve starters minutes, then trading them for essentially nothing. The Suns are ran by one of the most incompetent front offices in the NBA. The owner of the Suns, Robert Sarver, is notorious for his cheapness. In 2004, Sarver made the Suns GM trade the 7th pick to the Bulls for cash, just like they traded TJ Warren for cash. I'm starting to see a pattern here. When Joe Johnson was in Phoenix, he ended up leaving the Suns because Robert Sarver was unwilling to give him a fair contract. James Dolan is known as the worst owner in the league, and I tend to agree, but I really think that he only gets the attention that he does because it's New York. If Robert Sarver was in New York with Dolan owning the Suns, I think Robert Sarver would be way more widely hated. Coming out of this draft, well, one, I was disappointed the Bulls didn't get Darius Garland, because if you follow me on Twitter, which you should, you would know I basically had a mental breakdown trying to figure out a way for Garland to end up in Chicago, and it never happened. And 2, I felt bad for Suns fans. I just want to say straight up to Suns fans, if you want to dip, no one would blame you. The only people who care about Suns pride is Suns fans, so go ahead and leave, it's okay. Become a Warriors fan. It's not even cool to be a Warriors fan anymore. All those bandwagon fans left with Clay's ACL and Durant's Achilles. Seriously, I have strongly considered this with the Bulls in the past. I won't do it, so I don't blame you for not doing it, but I just want to say no one would hold it against you. Just so you know, It's okay to leave, it's not your fault. Now, one last point, I really think the NBA needs to put in a rule for bad owners. If an owner shows flagrant disregard for a team's performance, like trading a number 7 pick for cash, and the owner only cares about being profitable, the NBA needs to force those guys to sell the team. It makes the league look bad as a whole, and I think that they should care about that. Episode 2 of the Hoopscast will be out tomorrow. It will be on the Anthony Davis trade and this draft, so we'll talk about the Suns a little bit more if you care about that. So go give that channel a subscription and hit the bell. That link will be in the description. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.